Hi, my name is Blanca Canis, and here we are starting with our commercial research, which will be about a 1980s Nestle Crunch chocolate bar commercial. And I know it's kind of old school, and it was easy to choose and trigger what kind of changes I would make, how it's appealing to the audience. So here we go. So we'll watch it. It's 30 seconds.
That's why I love chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. The blend of Nestle's creamy milk chocolate with crunchies tastes just as good as it sounds. Cheese when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
So when we start looking at this commercial, one thing that popped out was definitely the color scheme. As we've learned, it's all about visual composition, as we've learned in the past courses that we've had. And I think that the colors here don't match. They don't pull the audience in. They kind of just blend and they're very bland and very just non-appealing. So they do also use the jingle
It is
quite a lot.
ready.
For it to be a 30-second commercial, they use it 3 times. And I think that's a little bit too much of a repetition within the 30 seconds. So I don't know. I wouldn't use the jingle so much. Maybe at the end to close it all together, a nice little ring to it would, I think, would do. Now here again, we have this coach that appears to be maybe somewhere outdoors in a field, maybe, but you see how his shirt also blends in with the background, and it's not so appealing in my opinion.
It's scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch. The blend of Nestle's creamy milk chocolate.
Here, I think this is the only good part that I have found when it comes to color composition. You have a white background. I would make it a little brighter, and I would also change the slant of the chocolate to it standing up and then having the melting of the chocolate convert into the chocolate bar. Also,
But with crunchies, tastes just as good as it sounds.
you have the child here, which is, I think, the demographic that they're trying to appeal to is children, you know, adults as well, but mostly children because of the little jingle, the chocolate. Who doesn't like sweets? But um, I would make it more about the chocolate to just catch the attention of the audience. I would definitely also change some of the outfits, the colors. It does look a little blurred out. Now, I don't know if it's because of the tools and the resource that they had in 1980 isn't as advanced as we have now today, but I would definitely do that. And I don't know if you guys noticed as well here, they all get the top of their heads cut off, which I've been called out for not cutting off the top of their heads. So I would also change that and not have it so close up to their faces. To me, it kind of felt a little uncomfortable to be that close and just have everything just blurred and close up to my eyes again. From a cinematography standpoint, I would kind of change that. In addition to changing the narrative of the entire commercial, I would make it about a story about someone hiding the chocolate because they don't want to share it because it's so good. Just changing the narrative altogether. I wouldn't just have 3 people close up with with just biting into the chocolate. Yeah, that's what I would do for this. And those are the changes I would make. And is this a letdown or is this a successful commercial? I think it's it's a good commercial, but it's well, kind of a letdown a little bit. Maybe because we're so used to seeing nowadays a lot more color, a lot more pop, a lot more pizzazz in commercials. Again, the narratives of commercials are very important to me because it's what catches my attention. So yeah, this is very simple, very bland, and those are the changes I would make to make it a little more successful. But thank you so much for allowing me to share, and I'll see you up next with my second commercial. Bye. Hello again. So this time I'm going to be doing a commercial research for Kia with Jenny McCarthy, which I think she is hilarious at everything that she does. I really like her work. But let's take a look at this commercial.
Hey, Melissa, the whales need your help. I love whales.
Right here, I automatically love how they went from the car to instantly a different scene out in the ocean. So I really love that. I love this part.
Hey, Melissa.
So it's really good. They go back and forth to the car, which kind of is a good narrative. You're catching on what's going on. She's in the car driving, and she gets called for something, and they go to that scene, and then she gets called up for something else, and then they go to that scene. So
The trees need
very entertaining.
the ice.
So first of all, with the whale, she gets tossed over and hits the boat. So that was a really cool, the way they made that. And then the graphics for the whale or the tree, she gets tossed down, and so the graphics are pretty really cool. And how they used them.
Cats are in trouble. Melissa, now the rhinos need saving. Rhinos.
So as you see, I mean, I think the color composition is the color scheme is a little off. It seems like a little dull even throughout, like with the ocean and then the trees and now the rhino. The colors do seem a little dull, so I would actually do color correction there. But other than that, the graphics are pretty cool. The narrative is awesome. The only thing I would change, like I said, is just the color schemes and but I think the composition is well done. The demographic, I think, they're trying to reach out to adults because, we buy cars, we're old enough to buy cars, purchase cars, and but the commercial seems pretty funny enough for kids to watch and enjoy and persuade their parents to buy a car. So I don't know, it's kind of up there. Is it parents or is it children? It's just like in candy stores, they put the candy at the kids' levels. So it's a marketing scheme, I guess. But I think overall this commercial was well done.
Hard to be an eco warrior, but it's easy to drive like one. Introducing the most fuel-efficient crossover, the Kia Niro.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for Kia for the Kia commercial. I think it was well done. Those are the things I would change, but overall, I think it was done pretty well and definitely did not let down. Thank you so much. See you soon.